What if I told you that the world's most prestigious industry, Swiss watchmaking, almost completely disappeared? And that a quirky, colorful little plastic watch wasn't just a fad, but is actually the hero of an epic comeback story? This is the story of the Swatch Group, a tale of survival, reinvention, and a visionary leader who turned disaster into triumph. And I'll actually give you a challenge. Don't subscribe to this video. I'm serious. Only subscribe if you learn something new, because I'm sure that this is going to be a story that you'll enjoy. So let's jump into it with Chapter 1. The golden age of Swiss watches. So to understand the Swatch Group's rise, we need to rewind to its beginnings. You see, Swiss watchmaking wasn't just an industry, it was an art form, a tradition dating back to the 18th century. You see, in 1735, Johann Jacob Blancpain started his workshop, crafting what would become the world's oldest watch brand. And then in 1848, Louis Brandt founds a small watchmaking business in Switzerland, planting the seeds and the iconic designs for what would become the Omega brand. And then next in 1853, you have Tissot, who was born in I can't pronounce it, sorry. I know more about watches than pronunciation, but he was able to pioneer the innovation in mass production. But by the mid-20th century, Swiss watches had dominated over half the global market, and they were a symbol of precision and luxury. But enter Chapter 2, the Quartz Crisis. See, then the unthinkable happened, the Quartz Crisis. In 1969, the Japanese giant Seiko unveiled the Astron. This was the first quartz wristwatch, and everything completely changed. Quartz watches were cheaper, more accurate, technology was more superior, and Swiss mechanical watches, once prized possessions, suddenly seemed outdated. And the impact? By the 1980s, the Swiss watch exports had plummeted, and iconic brands like Omega teetered on the brink of collapse. And it wasn't just the industry that was in decline, it was on life support. By the end of the crisis, 2/3 of the Swiss watchmakers completely had gone out, bankrupt, disappeared, and moved on to other industries. But this is where the story starts to change. We go into Chapter 3. Enter Nicolas Hayek. You see, Nicolas Hayek, a Lebanese-Swiss entrepreneur who wasn't afraid to challenge the status quo, changed the game. And the first thing he did was use his business acumen to orchestrate the merger between ASUAG and SSIH. You see, these were two struggling watchmaking conglomerates, and together they formed SMH in 1983. Now you might be wondering, what does those things stand for? So if you heard my pronunciations earlier, you saw that I'm much more about the watchmaking than the pronunciations. But in case you're wondering, ASUAG is this, and SSIH is this, which I think in French is Société Sociale pour l'Industrie Horlogerie SA? I don't know, but that's what they are. But what's more important than the pronunciation is what happened, because he united these new companies under a new mission. Now, I think he said it best when he said Swiss watches can compete, not by being cheap, by being unique. This radical vision of combining Swiss craftsmanship and its modern innovation as well as with affordability created a result that no one expected, a bold, playful watch that would change everything for the Swiss watchmaking industry. Which gives us Chapter 4, the birth of Swatch. Now in 1983, Swatch was born. And this wasn't just a watch, it was a fashion statement, a collectible, a reinvention of what Swiss watches could be. See, Swatches were affordable, yet unmistakably Swiss-made. They were marked as a fun and personal and appealing to younger generations. And by 1985, Swatch had sold over 100 million units, single-handedly reviving the Swiss watch industry. And you still see them everywhere today, especially if you fly through an airport. You see, Hayek's genius wasn't just the product, it was the strategy. You see, he streamlined production, he was able to preserve Swiss talent, and he reimagined watches as more than just timekeepers. But that was just step 1. You see, he used this base, this reimagining, to lead to step 2, which is going to be leading us to Chapter 5, the road to luxury. With Swatch's success, Hayek didn't stop. He reinvested heritage brands like Omega and Blancpain and Breguet in restoring their place in the luxury market. In 1992, SMH acquired Blancpain, cementing its high-end reputation. And then in 1998, SMH becomes the Swatch Group, a global powerhouse with a diverse portfolio. But today, Swatch Group owns over 17 of the most iconic brands around the world, from playful brands like Swatch to the luxurious like Breguet and Harry Winston. And it all started with Hayek's belief in Swiss ingenuity. And it all really started with that little plastic watch and a reimagination. But that brings us to Chapter 6, which is really facing the future. You see, even giants face challenges. And in the 21st century, that Swatch Group must adapt to a whole new set of competitors, whether it be fashion brands, micro brands, and smartwatches. And honestly, it's a whole new generation. Because if you're watching this video, you probably already have some interest in watches, but you know that the world around us isn't. Many people just use devices like their phone to keep track of time, and they don't understand the beauty, the history, the power of having something on your wrist that tells the time. Oh man, I don't even know where my watch went. I might have to pop this out. Boop. All right, that's better. Like the devices on our wrist that tell the time. You see, watches have so much more to them. And in this modern world, not many people see that. Like this watch for me. This is my Timex Galley S2, a watch that I got when I got to 1,000 subscribers. And yes, it tells the time, but it also tells me more. It connects me to people like you who are watching the video. But there's many people who've strayed away from that. And I don't know how the Swatch group is gonna battle that in the future. But I guess that leaves it up to you. What do you think? Do you think the Swatch group and watch industry as a whole is going to be able to evolve in this new generation as people move further and further away from watches? I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below. But I think overall, the Swatch group isn't just a business story. It's a lesson in resilience, in vision, and the power of reinvention. You see, Nicolas Hayek, he didn't just save the industry. He reminded the world why Swiss watches are truly timeless. While often when comparing watches, we get caught up in the specs, I think this kind of shows us it's the stories that truly make them valuable. And that's what we look to do here at Wrist & Wow. Our goal is to be the place where watches and stories meet. And if that interests you, stick around. I think there'll be a video right here. But if you don't have time, just hit like on the video and maybe leave a comment, because that'll help it get to other people who might be interested in content like this. But regardless, if you watch the next video or you head out now, just know, as you go into the world, remember, believe in yourself, believe in God, and amazing things are going to happen. This is Tyree. God bless and peace.